Outrage, anger, and uncertainty are what the parents of two Clark County elementary schools are experiencing right now. When schools are shut down in downtown areas, it costs the community a great loss. Every child has the right to access a public school within reasonable distance of where they live. With Clark County's proposal to close both Spring Hill and Maple Elementary schools in the downtown area, you can see firsthand the outrage of these communities where the students attend. If the proposal is initiated, it will not be fair to these students and their families to be bused and scattered around in unfamiliar areas that possibly they have never been to. How is it really affecting these students to move schools? One might think changing school environments can be a positive experience, which leads me to my first point. Shutting down local schools and scattering these students to different areas is difficult in cases of emergencies, early dismissals, or illnesses. When a parent doesn't have transportation to get their child to school after they miss the bus or pick them up when there's an emergency, it can be frustrating and scary for a parent. I, as a parent, would want to be there urgently if my child needed me because they were sick. When people depend on buses to get to their destinations, it can make a situation more difficult than it has to be. Some people pick schools with location in mind for that very reason. Why should we make parents wary about their children when there could be a school that's already located within their means to get there? Now to my next point. How is shutting down these schools harm the community? Shutting down schools in the downtown community takes away from the growth and resources that schools provide in their communities. Some people will have the desire to either move out of these communities that are that the Maple and Spring Hill elementary schools are located and move closer to the locations that these children are being bused to, or you will see people having the desire to not even move into the downtown area because there are no schools for the children to go to. They shouldn't have to migrate like this when there should be schools already accessible to them in that area. Also, students in all areas need to be able to use their local schools for what programs that they have to offer. Like I mentioned in my first point, not all families have cars. And I'm certain that after a parent has worked a long day of work, that they want to travel an hour or 2 hours just for their child to stay out there for homework help, to use computers, or for extracurricular activities. So some students would just essentially miss out on these activities because they don't have a car. Also, parents of these students will be less likely to come to PTA meetings because they don't have the ways to get there. As you can see, this situation costs more for the community than it gains. Now for my third point. Shutting down these schools in each area is unfair to children and their families because it's causing the community to lose its identity. Each community has the right to have its own grocery stores, health centers, libraries, parks, and definitely schools. Having a school in the community gives local role models, mentors, and alumni who might feel that a piece of their youth is being taken away from them when these schools are closed down. Because these schools give a chance for these mentors to empower and give back to these students who are now growing up in that same area. It gives schools a sense, and communities a sense of pride when they are being represented. In closing, a review of my points are: shutting down these schools is causing relocation and scattering of the students, which may not be easy to access for these families and students who don't have cars. Shutting down local schools also takes away from growth and resources for the community and its students. And third, it is unfair for the communities of these Maple and Spring Hill elementary schools because it's taken away their community's identity. Instead of shutting down these schools completely, there has been a community proposal to not completely shut down the school, but to merge both schools together so that it still remains functional for the community, as well as the complaints of the GCCS about the cost to keep the schools running because they will be merged together and it will be cheaper to keep the building running. For this reason, it is more beneficial to the community to have a local school. There are 2 schools located within reasonable distance of where I live. I would be angry if my child had to move schools and be scared away from the school that she has been going to since preschool. It is bad for the community, and not to mention it causes the bonds between students and their teachers and teachers and parents to be broken, which is an important factor in a child's success. Thank you for hearing my speech, and have a good day.